In the headlines, 50 people abducted from Katsina village regain freedom. World Health Organization report shows 3.5 billion people suffer from oral diseases. President Buhari approves salary for judges. And on the international scene, U.S. climate envoy John Kerry tests positive for COVID-19 at COP27. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. And now the news in detail. The over 40 people, including women and children, abducted from Bakiawa village of Batagarawa local government area of Katsina State have regained freedom. The abductees regained their freedom after the payment of an undisclosed amount of money as ransom to the terrorists. Abdullahi Ahmadi reports that the villagers had to contribute money and seek support from family and friends to pay the ransom to secure the release of the abducted family members. His report.
Some of the freed victims who returned with various ailments occasioned by trauma, wounds from beating and chaining are receiving medical attention at a hospital in Batagarawa. Usman Buhari, who is recuperating on hospital bed from wounds he sustained from chaining, narrates how he spent months in the terrorist den. The terrorists are merciless. We were beaten severally. Look at my legs. I was chained for days. At first, they demanded 2 million naira ransom from my relatives. But later, the negotiation went on for all of us from Bakiawa village. Bakia Abdul Qadir is amongst the freed victims after payment of 100,000 naira as ransom.
We are still living in fear as the terrorists always come around armed with AK-47 rifles. My prayer is for the quick return of peace to our communities, and I hope the terrorists will repent and live a normal life. There are still some abductees with the terrorists in the bushes. There are still cases of killings, abductions, rustling of animals. All is not well with us in our communities.
Though the Bakiawa abductees were freed, residents are living in fear of another attack, as according to them, the terrorists armed with dangerous weapons can lay ambush on the village. Bakiawa village, a farming community on Katsina-Batsari Road, has been battling with banditry which hampers socio-economic well-being of the community and other neighboring villages. Abdullahi Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
A new report published by the World Health Organization has revealed that 3.5 billion people suffer from oral diseases, with 3 out of 4 affected living in low and middle-income countries. Director General of the WHO, Tedros Ghebreyesus, disclosed this in a statement on Friday. Ghebreyesus said oral health had long been neglected in global health, noting, however, that many oral diseases could be prevented and treated with the cost-effective measures outlined in the report. According to him, in a first-ever comprehensive overview, the Global Oral Health Status Report analyzed key areas and markers throughout 194 countries and shows that cases have increased by 1 billion over the last 30 years. He said the main reason was that many people do not have access to prevention and treatment. Ahead of the 2023 elections, the political temperature in Rivers State gradually rising following the Executive Order 21 and 22 signed by Governor Wike. The orders forbid use of school and residential buildings as campaign rally venues. However, Accord Party governorship candidate Dumo Lulu Briggs has a word of caution. The report.
The governorship candidate of Accord, Dumo Lulu Briggs, has advised the Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike not to overheat the polity in the state ahead of the 2023 elections. Dumo said the executive orders 21 and 22, banning political parties from the use of buildings in residential areas as campaign offices without approval, is the height of irresponsibility on the side of Governor Wike and the PDP.
You know, you're a government, you should not want to overheat the polity. You shouldn't want that. But you take actions to prevent people from campaigning. And I've always wondered, why afraid of this contest? You are so massive. You're PDP. You've been in government since 1999. You say the other parties don't have structures. Yet those who don't have structures are frightening you so very much that you want to even close their campaign offices. Well, this is the height of irresponsibility by a political party, the PDP, and by the special grace of God. As you can see, every step that they take, we try to ensure that we remain very peaceful in Rivers State. But that's the whole idea. Twice, the candidate of the SDP had complained. Going out to campaign is attacked by PDP, hoodlums and all of that, would not be allowed even to campaign. Just to go out, now we're not going to the venues that you say you own as Rivers State government and you will not allow others to use. Just to even go on the streets, you're even stopping them from doing that. Now you want to stop them from having campaign offices,
Lulu Briggs is coming when Justice Stephen Delop Palm of the Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has resolved judgment on suit filed by PDP in Rivers State against INEC, Accord and National Assembly candidates of the party for non-compliance with the electoral law while conducting primaries.
Principal complaint in the matter is that the Accord party held the Congress's primaries for the nomination of those candidates outside the various constituencies. Under the law, we believe that renders it invalid. INEC knew about it. INEC published a report where they made it clear that they were aware that these primaries held outside the constituencies. So the PDP's case is that INEC has no right to then include the names of candidates who did not comply, whose political party did not comply with the requirement of the law.
The court has adjourned to 25th of November for definite hearing on the suit.
Despite campaigns against violence ahead of Nigeria's 2023 elections, there are growing concerns and apprehension among stakeholders over the rising wave of political thuggery. The situation has raised concern among political watchers in Yola, Adamawa State, that some politicians may rely on thugs for election victory where they are not popular. Silas Lowang examines how politicians make use of thugs in electioneering. His report.
Although the new electoral law makes provision that address electoral violence such that it will no longer be a business as usual for political thugs to disrupt peaceful campaigns and elections in the country, but political violence is still not ruled out.
The issue of political thugs is illegal. Secondly, you don't need political thugs to win an election. But of course, you will have vibrant young men and women as adherents of the political party. To keep away from drugs, keep away from all social vices, so that the society will be secure. It is when you have a secure society that anybody can even aspire or operate.
We cannot dispute the fact that some youth among us engage in political thuggery, or let me say they have been induced to act by some politicians. All I know is that some engage in political hooliganism and thuggery with regret because those politicians will not even remember them after the elections.
We believe in God that issue of beavers and all this will work. If that will work well, then it will by the beginning of the election it will discourage the thuggery, and that will eventually die on its own. But for government fighting thuggery now, the best of it is to continue to take place itself. As securities and all these things are on the other side, they will not be able to do it.
However, stakeholders said thugs have unleashed the mayhem during campaigns of political parties in recent past, showing that the polity is yet to mature and develop to address rising challenges facing its democracy.
Youth who are into politics with the aim of shaping their future would never allow themselves to be negatively used as talks. However, I hope and believe that the recent happenings in the polity would be a nipping bond, but our youth need to have a rethink.
In the last 2 decades, the spate of violence and political hooliganism has undermined the credibility of elections in Nigeria, frustrating effort to deepen electoral process. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has approved and directed that measures be taken for immediate implementation of the enhanced salary and welfare scheme for judicial officers. President Buhari made this known on Friday at the official commissioning and handing over ceremony of Nabo Graham Douglas campus of the Nigerian Law School, Port Harcourt, to the Council of Legal Education. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami SAN, who represented the President, said Buhari has directed the Chairman, Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Commission and the Ministry of Justice to promptly commence measures towards realization and implementation of enhanced salary and welfare scheme for the judicial officers in the country. The President said this and many other initiatives were targeted at significantly strengthening the capacity and independence of the judiciary, which he said remained a pillar of strength and stability for the nation's democracy.
18th day of November 2022, by His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, DCFR, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, on this day, 18th November 2022, to the glory of God. Thank you.
You're still watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, cryptocurrency accepted as legal tender for tea. Do stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Here's a recap of some of our top stories. You heard that 50 people abducted from Katsina village regained freedom. You also heard that World Health Organization report shows 3.5 billion people suffer from oral diseases. Moving to other news, Deputy Minority Leader of the House of Representatives, Toby Okechukwu, has advised that for Nigeria to realize its roads infrastructure target, the fund bill must be assented to by President Muhammadu Buhari. Okechukwu stated this in Abuja when he received a delegation from the Council of Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, led by its president, Rabiu Ali, who came to present a letter of honorary fellowship of the Nigerian Society of Engineers to him. The report.
According to the Deputy House Minority Leader, the Roads Fund Bill and Road Authority Bill passed into law by the National Assembly to give a facelift to the sector were rejected. He, however, appealed to President Buhari and all concerned Nigerians to give attention to the bills.
Engineering crisscrosses our lives. It controls 90% of our lives. It is our prayer that the Road Fund Bill and Roads Authority Bill should be paid attention to. The other day, I was listening to the minister, and he said they have over 10 trillion liability, and they have 765 billion outstanding certificates. There isn't any way you can develop roads in this country without dealing with the issue of road reforms in the system. And those acts were meant to cure that.
Earlier, while presenting the award letter, the current president, Rabiu Ali, said the fellowship was sequel to Okechukwu's contribution to engineering in Nigeria, especially in amending the current act.
Engineering has suffered in Nigeria. The act that you have given us will go a long way in putting engineering in the front burner and in its right perspective in Nigeria. The fruits might not be seen immediately, but already I want to inform Your Excellency that we have already started the implementation of the Act. And we are already seeing signs that the Act will change the face of engineering practice in Nigeria.
He said that engineering has received a boost with the new law.
Away from that story, Delta State government has announced the termination of the contract of 10 billion of Sector A of the dualization of the Ughelli-Asaba Highway over poor performance on the part of the contractor. Commissioner for Information Charles Anyagu announced the termination of the contract while addressing journalists in Asaba on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting. The report.
According to the commissioner, the 149 kilometers Ughelli-Asaba was divided into sectors A, B, and C, with different contractors handling the various sectors when it was first awarded in 2013. The non-performing sector A, which stretches from Ughelli to Arede, was awarded at a contract sum of 6 billion naira. He said that the council approved the revocation because the contractor was not able to carry out the job as expected.
First, terminate the contract for Sector A of the Ughelli-Asaba dual carriage. Sector A is the place starting from Ughelli to Arade in Isoko. The contractor that has been handling that particular project, CCC, since 2013 when it was awarded, has not been performing up to the expectation of the administration. When we came in, we thought he wasn't doing so well, and that after a whole lot of discussion and then the review of that contract from about 6 billion at that time, that was enough encouragement for him to make progress. But each time we continued to monitor, we saw that he was not moving the way we expected him to do. And so we have not only repudiated that contract today, but we have also terminated that contract.
Anegu also said the government of Delta State is working out ways to stop the act of internet fraudsters in the state.
We have not gotten to that one, examining the issues of internet fraud, and we do hope that once we consider it, you will see our approach to dealing with this issue of Yahoo in the state, so that at the end of the day, none of us is defrauded by individuals who think that they are smarter than the rest of us and will want to take advantage of us by taking the funds that we may have legitimately suffered to earn in the course of time.
The commissioner noted that due to fluctuation in the prices of raw materials, the contract was reviewed upward in 2015 to the region of 10 billion naira. Though the upward review did not motivate the contractor to work on the project.
Selling tea is a popular business in the northern part of Nigeria. Some of these tea sellers are inventing unique ways of conducting and expanding their business in a bid to attract more customers and sustain it. Isa Ismaila completes reports on a vendor who is embracing crypto as a legal tender.
Increase in business activities have changed the way people enjoy their breakfast. One of the popular spots for breakfast is a tea brewer joint, popularly called Mishai, who mostly run their businesses in makeshift shops. Unlike other regular tea sellers, Rabiu Halilu, who owns a stall few meters to Gwagwalada main market, has recently transformed his 2-year-old tea business by adding crypto as one of the means of payment for his services.
My friends motivated me to join Pi Network, and I decided to put the idea into my tea selling business because nobody is doing it yet. I decided to collect a Pi for 500 Naira combo just to give it a trial. So far, it has been successful. In life, generally, one have to take risk. So I took the risk.
Despite being mocked by some of his friends for accepting Pi as a means of payment, he says he's determined to continue on the path he has chosen.
Currency is used by almost every business person in Nigeria. As for Pi, not everyone uses it for payment. People mock me sometimes, saying my business will crash and I'll go bankrupt. But I believe God is the only one who can decide that.
Rabiu added that since he started accepting Pi as a means of payment, he has not experienced any shortage in his business despite his little capital.
Honestly, all praises to the Almighty because everything is going well for me so far. Accepting Pi has not affected my capital, and what I have been doing financially has not reduced. No matter how long it will take before I benefit, if there is life, that's not a problem.
In this makeshift shop and on this table, Indomie is eaten and paid in Pi. This combo is 1 Pi, or equivalent to 500 Naira in Nigerian currency. But the big question to ask is, if Pi eventually gains value between the buyer and the seller, who is at the losing end? Or when is Pi even going to be valued? And on what price is Pi going to be valued? Pi, the cryptocurrency Rabiu accepts, is yet to be valued in the crypto market, as well as credible crypto platforms. However, Malam Idris Tanko, the chairman of Gwagwalada Pi Mega Mall, an umbrella body where Rabiu belongs, said the digital currency is already valued in Gwagwalada, and its value depends on the agreement between the buyer and the seller.
In Gwagwalada, it has already come in existence. We can see that we have a man that is collecting Pi to give you shai, suya, pepper soup, beans, and the rest. And we have many that are collecting inside market in terms of cosmetics. I myself that I'm seated here, I do give shoes to people that come with their Pi. Mala Rabiu does, myself I do. When you come to me, I collect each Pi and give you a shoe at the rate of 1,000 Naira.
The tea seller, having carved a unique identity for himself and his business, remains hopeful that the digital currency will be valued and widely accepted by Nigerians. Isa Ismaila, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Nigerians are a people known world over for their resilience, high-spiritedness, and will to overcome. However, is this the reason why citizens are yet to enjoy the dividends of democracy? In this report, Sagir Ibrahim examines the reasons behind the self-organizing attitude of Nigerians and why their dependence on government has reduced over the years. The report.
Since its return to democracy in 1999, the country has had 23 years of uninterrupted democratic governance. However, how much impact has it had in the lives of Nigerians?
What's the input the government is making? The security in the country is poor. There's no light to even do a proper business. Now my business, the kind of business I do, needs electricity to function properly. Now there's no profit generating. If I spend in a day, if I'm spending 20,000 Naira for fuel, how much am I making? And I'm paying staff.
I don't depend on government. I'm a carpenter, furniture by profession. So I don't depend on any government. Hustle. If you learn handwork, know what you are doing, you can get job. You focus on your job and forget about government.
So God say, work and I will help you. That's what I'm doing. I'm a Tyler. I want to go hustle. So I get. Government is not doing anything for me. Which government?
These authors are of the opinion that Nigerians' self-organizing impulse is what has been preventing Nigeria from becoming a failed state. In their book, they explain that Nigerians are indeed behind whatever success individual Nigerians and Nigeria are achieving.
I mean, look at the stats. Year-on-year spending by central government has dropped over the years. In fact, it keeps dropping, and the numbers keep getting worse off. Minimum wage, if you juxtapose it for dollar relativity, 40 years ago was better than now. Government has failed largely. We encourage them to do better. But Nigerians too should be able to look at ways they can upskill. And they are organizing everywhere. Look at the healthcare sector, look at private healthcare, even look at the education system. The failure of government schools have led to the proliferation of private schools everywhere.
But the question is, do Nigerians have a choice to do otherwise? More importantly, is it the self-organizing nature of citizens that prevents government from rising to its responsibilities?
I wouldn't say it's lack of choice. I would say it's the desire to have better. So I would say it's more the desire to have the best and do the best for our families, for our communities.
The crop of the people that are living below the poverty line are not as a result of lack of economic activities in the country. It is just that the dividends of those economic activities are not in adequate circulation.
According to a latest survey by the National Bureau of Statistics, 133 million Nigerians are currently poor. And with the current inflation rate at 20.91%, there is a looming rise in the cost of commodities, which will further impact the standards of living of citizens. Nigerians are, however, hopeful that the 2023 general election will usher in a new government whose impact will be felt by all. Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And with that, we take a look at the foreign scene. U.S. climate John Kerry has tested positive for COVID-19 at the United Nations climate talks in Egypt, where negotiators were desperately trying to break a deadlock over loss and damage funding for developing countries battered by weather disasters. Kerry's illness has added worries to the negotiations, which were scheduled to end on Friday, but have been continuing with no clear end in sight. The talks at the COP27 summit in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh have stumbled on the controversial issue of loss and damage funding for less developed countries to deal with the effects of climate change. Kerry's spokeswoman, Whitney Smith, said the envoy is fully vaccinated and boosted and is experiencing mild symptoms. According to her, he is working with his negotiation team and foreign counterparts by phone to ensure a successful outcome of COP27. Loss and damage remains the main sticking point between rich and poor nations, particularly the issue of how to compensate countries that have already been ravaged by climate-ridden floods, droughts, megastorms, and wildfires. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.